Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back to another show of Ignite Your Heart and Soul right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and all the way from Australia, our guest is Linda Joy Benn. Well, we're going to be talking about igniting your heart and soul today. She says, loving yourself on your discovery of soul purpose. Embracing the darkness, unveiling the soul's purpose. Well, you hear me talk about soul purpose a great deal here on this network. How do we do it? Well, she says, in the depths of our existence, we often encounter profound challenges that test our very being. Whether it is the dark night of the soul or the series of transformational experiences, we might find ourselves questioning, why me? But amidst of the turmoil, profound inner wisdom reminds us that we choose this lifetime precisely to undergo this metamorphosis. While trusting the universe, the spirit, or the divine may be difficult at times, it is crucial on our journey of transformation. And this is especially true of business owners and corporate directors as they strive to remember their true selves and embrace the darkness while ascending towards their soul purpose. So we are going to be talking about that exploration of our soul today. And she says at the age of 21, she conquered cancer, sparking a profound journey to the exploration of mind-body-soul connection. And the journey of healing from a challenging childhood led her to establish a business dedicated to empowering others to free their physical bodies from illness and pain. And through her 5-step or 5R renewal program, the Benn method, she helps release blocked energy, tension, stress, resulting in deep muscle relaxation. And her approach involves relying both posture, energy systems, while restoring your body's nervous system, the organs, leaving feeling completely rebalanced and re-energized for years. Well, let's just get right into it and find out how she does this. We know why it's important, folks, because if you're not in alignment with self, you are out of balance. Thanks for being here, Linda Joy, and we're looking forward to you sharing your joy here.
Thank you for having me, Sarah. Look forward to talking to you and having this conversation.
Balance is important, isn't it? I mean, if we're only traveling on one channel, all the other channels kind of needing to be equalized. And part of our health issues and our stress issues, our anxiety is coming from a place of imbalance. What do you think?
Well, that's why I created my Burnout to Balance program for specifically for entrepreneurs and business owners and corporate, because I went through my own burnout myself. And even though I knew all the steps
Yeah.
and been studying this for decades, I still went through my own burnout when I was living in California. So
Mm,
it's easy to just fall in to, that vortex, that spinning wheel, and
yeah.
on a roller coaster and trying to keep up. And because it is a fast society that we live in, and everything comes back to balance.
Yeah.
Balance in everything that we do during our day, as well as what we put into our body, what we feed our mind, and the choices that we make on a daily basis. So
Yeah.
it's
Those choices are very, very important because we could be very reactionary or we could be very static. You know, we can kind of misread the energy or bring about a different energy, and it can change our day quite completely. So sometimes starting the day off with just a deep breath and being present, and especially coming from, gratitude, thank you for another day, can kind of set our day on the right path.
well, your thoughts at the beginning of the day set the tone for the
Mm,
rest of the day. And this is what I say to all my clients is, before you open your eyes, just say in your head 3 things that you're grateful
mm,
for thank you for this day, thank you for my health. It's a beautiful day, because when this day is gone, it's gone forever.
Yes. Yes.
And
You can't get it
so
back.
create the memories that you choose to create,
Mm,
and make them magical.
yeah.
And go out and every day set the intention of creating those magical moments every day. And every day is a new discovery, it's a new adventure. And get excited about, who am I going to meet
Yeah.
today? What conversations will I have? And when you set the day with that intention on, I'm about to have an exciting adventure, it is exciting, and that gets your energy up and gets your enthusiasm up. And it is.
Yes.
That's
Even if you're
really.
having a hard day, sometimes I get a very physical hard day, and it's like everything about me feels heavy. And I know it's one of my days that I have to turn around, and if I can, nurture myself. It's a nurturing day. And so not every day is going to be upbeat, or every day is going to be full of energy. But it doesn't mean that it's a bad day. It's just perhaps a reflection day or a nurturing day, or something like that.
Well, and that's what my Benn method is.
Hmm.
It's balance, energy, nurture, and nourish. And you
Mm,
need those 4 steps, and consistently giving yourself those 4 steps
yeah,
throughout the day, throughout every moment, because it is about really coming back to listening to your
yeah.
body, listening to your heart, following. Well, this is another presentation I talk about, is connecting the 3 brains, the head, the heart, and the gut,
Thank you.
because they all
Yes.
work
Yes.
together when we make the choices and decisions. So sometimes when we're on that roller coaster, it's about the most nurturing thing we can do for ourselves is just take a step back
Hmm.
and ask, is this the right choice? Is this choice for my highest good and destiny, and for the highest good and destiny of the other person? And sometimes this is a truth, a
Mm.
truth question, because if it's coming from ego, from the head,
Yeah.
well, then it's like, whoa, get back into my heart and
Right.
now respond to the question, or respond to the person from my heart space.
Mm.
And so that's really important, to just stay in our heart and be compassionate for ourselves as well as others.
Oh, well, I would say
And
even first, you can't go and help someone else if you're depleted. So,
no.
sometimes that compassion, it's very much a caregivers. They giving, and they're not giving of themselves, and they become depleted. And there's all sorts of caregivers, not just, I'm talking of invalids, but just people who are out there giving, giving, giving. And it's, well, what else have you got to give if you're not replenishing? And that, you're not being selfish by taking that time for yourself. Being self-worth, you have to replenish yourself.
And the end result of constantly giving, giving, and
Mm.
giving, and not filling up your own cup is breast cancer. And
Yes.
that's why breast cancer is on the rise, because you've got all these nurturing women giving, 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 and they are depleted, and they're not nurturing themselves.
Yeah.
So that's just one of the illnesses. So it's so important. It's like we've got this energy, your right side is your physical side, and your left side is your spiritual side. And we've got energy flowing through us all the time. And
Yeah.
it's about that circle of reciprocity, receiving, connecting to the divine, and then we give back out through our right hand to all our brothers and
Mm.
sisters on the earth. And then we do that exchange. We do the dance on this playground that we call earth. And that's what we're all here for.
Yeah.
Is we're all doing this dance on this playground and playing together as we are learning and growing for our soul's growth and evolution. And when you take away all the material things and
Yes.
all the to-do lists and let go of all the worry and just surrender, well, then it's really, we're all here in this physical body and our soul is doing the best that we can.
Hmm.
And we're all here learning and growing.
That's what the purpose of the journey is, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. And if we don't, I mean, they say that cancer is 80% emotional and 20% environmental. And, especially when you think of the breasts, which are the nurturing, their life force for our children, right? And so for the breast to break down is that life force feeling depleted or feeling that it's not being received well, and there's all these emotional things that we don't pay attention to because we've been told to suck it up or compare to somebody else's emotion. And well, if they can do it, well, look what they've went through. Well, surely I need to shut up on mine. No, we've all got our level of pain and our level of struggle, and we need to be able to speak about it. We need to be able to feel it, to release it, not to become emotional about it. And that's where we get caught up, isn't it? Become very emotional about the emotion we're going through.
Well, we get caught up in the
Yeah.
story, which then creates the victimhood.
Hmm.
Look what happened to me, and then this happened, and then this person did this
Yeah.
to me, and then I had a car accident or
Mm.
cancer. That it's like all this whole dominoes effect of things that just keep happening. But again, take a step back, take your power back,
Yes.
take control of what are you putting out there into the universe to attract the people or the trauma or
Yeah.
the situations or circumstances. Now, I know for myself, I grew up in a very abusive,
Hmm.
traumatic, dysfunctional
Hmm.
family who ostracized me because of my spiritual
That's
beliefs.
hmm.
And so there was a lot of old programs and
Yes.
patterns and wounding of abandonment and rejection. Why don't they love me? Why don't they like me? Why am I ostracized? Blah, blah, blah. So that was an old story I was running. And that's why I created the cancer when I was 21.
Yes.
Because that was an easy way. I give up, poor me,
Blame it on the cancer. Yeah.
yeah, and it was in 1990. I'm showing my age now.
I'm way
Um,
older, darling.
that I met my spiritual teacher,
Hmm.
and it was in San Jose, California. So I knew that I had cancer. The doctors didn't want me to leave, but it's like I was set on going for my 3-year walkabout around the world because that
Hmm.
was my adventure. And I knew in my heart that that was the next best thing I could do. I needed to create space from my family
Yeah.
because I was just pushing down so much
Yes.
hurt, so much sadness, kept asking
Mm.
why did I choose my family? And
Yeah.
it was when I met my teacher who helped me to understand why I chose my family, what I was here to learn, what my purpose was, and why I created the cancer.
Hmm.
That just changed my whole perspective on life, which is why I continued on this healing path, not just for myself, but then in order to help others, and started my business, over 2 decades ago.
Hmm.
And though in the meantime, did a lot of study, a lot of research, and you never stop learning. I'm still
No,
studying.
not until the day we die. We can keep on, even afterwards, we keep on learning. Yes. But
Exactly.
but going on that journey, a lot of people kind of they get the word cancer and in a lot of ways death sentence, and then what they do is they give in. All right. Or it's the fight and the struggle. And it's yes, it can be. It definitely can be, depending what kind of cancer you have. You're certainly going to go through things and you certainly have to address it. You can't just ignore it and go la, la, la. But at the same time, stepping into that wonderment, that pot of positive energy, that willing to discover why you had the cancer and that life is so much more than this, in a way becomes part of the healing modality of it, along with obviously other things. But it is, it's almost kind of giving your spirit permission to live, permission to be despite this attack on you.
Exactly. And as a human, we have free will.
Yeah.
And everything comes down to the choices that we make. And when we look at ourselves as a soul, but an amazing, powerful, conscious soul.
Yeah.
And we are this a very powerful soul before we came into these
Yes.
bodies. But if you, and cancer is an opportunity to really do some deep work and self-discovery.
Yeah.
And that's what I went through, is really looking and at all those old programs and patterns and peeling them off. And guess what? You never get to the bottom. There is no bottom.
No, no, there isn't, because very often it blends into ancestral. Yeah, exactly. And it's bottomless pit. But you know, when we look at it, it's not just us in this lifetime. It's you're carrying ancestral you know, pains, you're carrying past life pains, and that it's you're not always aware of it until you open that Pandora box and you start releasing it, and then you realize, how deep is this box? And you realize it's beyond your lifetime. But in releasing it as you can, don't try and do it all at once because it's too much. As you release it, this stage, that stage, as you go further down the box, it's go, oh, really? That happened to you? That was that experience? Well, here's the hug and the love. I let you go in peace, right? And it doesn't become so intimidating anymore.
Exactly. And we all have past lives
Hmm.
or different events. Sometimes I take my clients to those lives just for the learning,
Yeah.
not to regress them back.
Right.
Then also the generational
Hmm.
that's been passed through all the generations
Yes.
that make up who we are, because what grandma did passed it on to mother, and then the mother to the child, and and it's a
It's in the
domino.
DNA, it's in the cellular structure.
So exactly, but as a soul, it's really about coming back and believing in
Mm.
yourself and going, okay, all these people around me are here for my soul to learn and grow.
Right.
And this is the biggest learning I got, Sarah, is with my family. And I won't go into the details because that's, again, just a story, but it was horrific for
Mm.
many, many years, and still into my adulthood. And now I've got to a place of peace and neutrality, and a knowingness that they're they are who they are. They're not going to change. And yes, I am different and we're on different paths,
Hmm.
but I had a soul agreement for
Hmm.
them to be my family in this life. So if I started acting like a victim, or showing gullibility or vulnerability,
Hmm.
well, then they were there to just attack me. And that was my lesson. No, stand in your power, because as a soul, it's like you are powerful. So don't let them attack you.
Yeah.
And and so and now it's to a place where they are starting to show some kindness.
Mm.
Just kind of, I'm not close to them, but just a kind invitation. Or because for years it's like I didn't even feel safe to be in the
Right.
same group. And so now it's like I'm noticing some kindness, and so
part of
That's
their own involvement, right? Part of their own soul lesson along the way. I mean, some people, it doesn't matter how much the soul says, I'm here to have this experience, I'm here to help you evolve. And there's just some people that can't evolve. They won't let the spirit in. If the heart is shut down, the soul can't get through because it speaks through the heart. And it speaks to the heart, then speaks to the spirit in action, and our mind will know what it needs to know when it needs to know it. But if that heart is shut down or become brittle or distrusting or painful, then where's that soul wisdom going? As you said, it needs all the intellect. People don't understand there's a soul, a heart, and spirit intellect. And if you trust those intellects, then the brain intellect isn't just a mass of data. It is then information that is relevant to the moment.
that's
But
right.
we just only listen to the head. And what is the head? Very often is programming.
Yeah.
And we live in this programming over and over again, or shoulds. And then we don't, the heart and the soul and the spirit's going, listen, I'm here. I've got the wisdom for you. Open up, let me guide you. But we shut that down and then wonder why we feel alone.
And that's exactly the work that I do for others, because I've always had this huge heart, and my intention is to help everyone
Yeah.
on the planet, though I've also learned I can only help those that are ready and willing. And especially when I was living in Silicon Valley, and I
Mm.
was observing how they operate, and it's all from the head, and it's
Yes.
all based on power, ego, money. And
Hmm.
I just went, wow, I don't think I fit here.
Yeah, what are you doing there?
Right, I'm with the energy, and and it was interesting. I'd ask someone, how are you? And they'd be on their phone, fine.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
no, how are you? Because I care. My business is heart centered, so I
Yes.
truly am asking, how are you? But that required, going from head to heart and feeling. They go, get this crazy woman away from me. And
Yeah.
so it was just interesting to see that contrast.
Yeah.
And this is where, a lot of those people, and actually it's not just people in corporate, but it's many people, they may have all the material things and all, very successful, da da da, but their heart is yearning for
Yes.
connection with themselves, to come back, and actually feel and connect to their true self, connect to the higher self. And that's what I do for people. I simplify it and realign them back to their true essence of who they are, and back to their true authentic self, because
That's what the journey of life is all about. From
absolutely.
that space, that I call it the core of us, the essence, the core of us. From that space, we make choices and decisions that not only benefit us, but the benefit of the whole, because we think collectively. We think
Yes,
we think in collaboration, we think in unity, uh, we think in community, because it's all about what can I contribute that it is going to ease the lives or better the lives of others around us. And it is almost when you hear people doing harm to one another, it's a wound to yourself, right?
absolutely. Yes, because everything that each individual is doing, well, then that, because it is all about mass consciousness,
Yes.
that's a ripple effect that's going out to every being on the planet. So this is why setting your intentions at the beginning of the day, and knowing that no one wakes up with the intention of ruining your life.
Not
And,
unless there's something very disturbed about them.
and so, well, that's a whole nother subject. Go out and spread your love and light, and
Yeah.
and show, kindness to others, and gratitude, and just for the simplicity of
Mm,
being alive, because it's such a short journey.
yes.
And this is where, it's just a blip, when you're looking at the whole universe,
Yeah,
the time we're here on this playground is just a blip in
it
time.
is. It is. Yeah,
By
there's
the
so much we can do in that time, though, if we choose to.
exactly, and that's what our journey is all
Mm,
about, is for our soul to learn and grow. So, and sometimes we have these soul contracts where we go through these experiences. And so I remember my teacher when I was 21, because I was from the US, I was then traveling to Europe. And I did this adventure by myself, backpacking, and,
mm.
you know, catching trains and buses and,
And all
um,
this with cancer.
and well, after I saw my teacher, because I was living in San Francisco at the time, and every week I would go down and see him. Now, how it happened, I met this lady in San Francisco, and this is how divine
Mm,
intervention works, right? Because what are the odds? She says, "Oh, I found out that there's a really good psychic in San Jose. Would you like to come and have a reading with me?" I went, "Absolutely." And so we went together, and he did a reading for both of us. Now, I never told anyone about the cancer.
mm.
I was just, on this adventure, happy, happy, happy. And it was afterwards that Dale gave me his card, and he said, "I don't normally do this, but here's my card and it's got my phone number on it. Call me." Well, that's what opened up the can of worms.
Mm.
And then it was like, oh, and just lots of tears. And
Yes.
so all our conversations, and then every week I would get the train down to San Jose. I'd stay overnight and then come back. But that was the best learning.
Yeah.
You don't learn that from a university, a college,
No, no.
workshop, a seminar. And I learned directly from
Yes.
source. He
Because
was,
he opened you up, right?
he,
He was the key to opening up for source to come through you because you had blocked that due to persecution, right? Of you're not allowed your faith and the fear of opening up to it. And all you need sometimes is that one person who has that key that opens up that channel. And as you say, it comes flooding along with it a whole load of emotions. But it's like a cleansing because it just washes so much out.
it was like a reconnection to why I was here, because
Yes.
I've always, in every lifetime, I've always done my spiritual work, but I was always killed,
Yes.
and
Yes.
called a witch and
Yes.
burnt at the stake
Me
and
too. Yeah. 50 times.
and, and so yeah, it's like all of that. So this life, it's like, I'm going to survive this one. Then
Yes.
then I chose a family who were trying to kill me.
Right, exactly.
It's like, oh, I give up, and that's where Dale was the key to go, no, this is the work you are meant to do in this
Right.
life. And I nearly gave up a couple of times. And because after I came back from the US, I was so burnt out, and I just went, you know what? No one's listening,
I know.
and I'm tired of talking, giving all this wisdom because no one's listening. And so I cut off, and
Yes.
then watched my physical body spiral
Mm,
down, and watch every organ, every system. I was so depleted. I'd
mm,
lost so much weight that I had no muscle holding my joints together. Then my
mm.
hip dislocated, my knee dislocated, and I was like,
Became a
yeah,
rag doll.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but also, I lost eyesight in my left eye. My liver was only functioning at 38%. I was hardly sleeping. Nervous system, you name it. I was not. I was. That was my dark night of the soul.
Right.
And it was my spiritual teacher who I met in 2004 that she's still my teacher. And she just took one look at me and went, Linda Benn, what are you doing? Do
Right.
you know who you are as a soul? And I
Mm-hmm.
said, yes, but I'm exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, and she was so stern, and she said, if you end this contract, do you know that the next life will be 10 times worse? And I just went,
Oh
no.
God, no, no mercy.
And it was, and so that was the turning point.
Right.
And so once I made a commitment to spirit to
Yeah.
go, right, okay, I'm sorry, I neglected this
Me.
body
Mm-hmm.
and I am committed. I take full responsibility and I'm committed to now healing my body, healing every organ, every system, and transforming my life. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping others. Doesn't matter what you've been diagnosed with,
Right.
what illness, disease, cancer, all these, because I was diagnosed with autoimmune and, chronic fatigue and adrenal burnout and suicide and depression. And
Mm-hmm.
they're all labels
Yes.
that the medical profession, God love them, that, they give us. But some people, when they give up, they attach to this label. Some people love having, I've
Yes,
got
that yes, it's their attention, right? It's the how to get
and
attention. Mm.
my doctor, and lovely man, but he was so upset with me because I was non-compliant and not taking the medication, and then
Right.
medicate me for suicide and depression, and yeah, it was like, no, I can, I knew, everything I'd learned. I can restore this body and use my own tools, my own method, and that's when I created the Benn method.
Mm-hmm.
But for years, like 20 years, when I was doing all the body work and energy work, people would ask me, wow, what do you call this? And I said, oh, it's just the Benn technique, which is
Mm-hmm.
my last name. And I already had the 5 R's,
Mm-hmm.
which is release, realign, restore, rebalance, and re-energize, because they're the steps I take people
Mm-hmm.
through. And it's now an online program. But when I was really sick and sitting in the pit, it was like, okay, I commit to staying and restoring my body. What do I need? And that's what balance, energy,
Yeah.
nurture, nourish. And and that's how I healed my body and
Right.
restored, medication free.
Exactly. And I mean, I totally hear you about past lives that I came here willingly, a conscious that was willing to come here. Always my job was to ignite heart and souls. That was what I came here to do thousands of years ago. And then kind of through the lifetimes, it got filtered out, but always obviously doing that same thing. And past life regressionists have released me of many, many of their lifetimes, but in the cellular was still there, the structure of the persecution I'd been through. And a lot of what I was going through in this lifetime was still the persecution I'd gone through in past lifetimes. So I was a very sickly child and I
Mm.
had a lot of sickness through my life, but that spirit was always there. I played with dead people. I could go in and out of dimensions and I could do all of that type of stuff. My mother was very fey, as we call it. She was very spiritual. My dad, not necessarily, or my brothers and sisters, but it was still something that yeah, you were too weird, you were too wacko, you were too loopity loop, right? But it's all I could be. But I had a period in my life where I disappeared for 8 years into myself, and because I couldn't deal with the pain that was going on, quote, in marriage and in life and around me at that time, I had to retreat. And I went in and I realized if I stayed here any longer, apathy would take over and I wouldn't care. And caring was the one thing that kept me alive. I had to come back out and care. When I came back out into the light, it was very bright and blinding at first. And I felt the shadows chasing me until I realized the contour of the darkness and the light is what gives it balance. And now I can go into that darkness, which I do very often, just into the universal darkness, for I am the light. And there is
Yeah.
no reason to escape or be fearful. It's a rejuvenation. But we have to go through those things of understanding, right? And if you're
Ab-
not willing to experience the journey, if you, I know it doesn't make sense and there isn't one size that fits all, and everybody's journey is going to be different. But the principle of recovery is based on thyself, of what you can do for yourself, what you need to do for yourself, so that you can be enriched and abundant with yourself, so that your cup can runneth over. And that is a journey that we all have to take if we
yeah.
really want to step into our true abundance.
Exactly. And it's about taking responsibility for every action, everything that we do, and the choices that we make, but also looking at those shadow
Yes,
parts of ourselves and embracing and acknowledging those shadow parts, not trying to
right, right. Suppress them.
ignore them,
Yeah.
suppress
They
them,
find
push
their way out.
them down, because yeah, and just because we all have all these parts of
Yes,
who we are that make up who we are, and we're all unique and beautiful and amazing, and it's really about just embracing even the parts that you don't necessarily like, but when you
exactly.
understand and aware of those shadow parts, and it's like, okay, this is that part,
Yeah.
and this is the emotional resilience, and emotional intelligence of understanding your wounds,
Yeah.
understanding that part, and in this situation where you may be triggered in the past, you would react
Yeah.
this way, but understanding, there's that trigger, because people can only push the buttons and trigger you if that part is still unresolved.
Yes.
And so if you're going out into the world with all these buttons flashing,
Mhm.
people, because everyone, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
You're like a
it's
disco.
exactly neo lights
Everywhere. Woo!
everywhere. Whereas, and that was part of my journey of learning, and especially around my family, because families always know where those buttons
Oh
are,
God, don't they? Yes.
and they know which ones trigger you. And so it's that's where the more you can come to a place of neutrality and
Yeah.
peace, go, you know what? You can say all the nasty things, you can do all those nasty behaviors, but I'm sovereign, I'm whole,
Hmm.
I'm complete, and it's not going to hurt me.
No, but you're
And
hurting yourself.
that's right. And it's really about having no, like anger
Mm.
or emotion around it, just being at peace,
Yes,
because that says more about them than it does
exactly.
you. So the more you can just go, that's you.
Well, I mean, also for a lot of people, they don't want to take the journey. They don't want to be responsible or participate in their own lives of healing, right? Never mind whether they're willing to open up their soul or the heart of their spirit. Is like, no, too much work. I far rather point the finger and blame everybody else in life, even though there's three fingers pointing back at me and going, well, what are you going to do about it? And where's your accountability? And for some people, it's just too much because blaming someone abstains them from doing anything in their eyes. And then
Yeah,
there's the other fact that they've known you XYZ and now you're suddenly this. And it's like what you're doing is shedding a light on what we can be if we're willing to participate in our lives and take the journey. And for some people, it's too much. No, I can't be like that. I don't want to be like that because I don't want to put in the work, which you do have to put in the work. and it's too much of a reflection of what they do have to do, and they just don't want to do it. And so you can't help people until they step into free will and say, I am ready to receive. I'm ready to
Exactly.
participate.
And for some, they will go to their grave kicking and
Yes.
screaming,
Yes.
still angry,
Yeah,
and it may take another 5 lifetimes for them
exactly.
to fully wake up and be conscious. And I used to think, that everyone was going to wake up and be conscious, on the
Wouldn't that be
planet.
lovely?
I know. And then it was
It's the
like,
wish.
oh, okay, let go of that
Yeah.
fantasy and just focus on the people that are willing and ready, and I
Yeah.
can provide and show them the bridge to
Yes.
reconnect to their soul when they're ready,
Yeah.
and to remember who they are as a soul.
Right. And what they're
And
here to do. What they're here to do.
that's right.
And the thing
And
is, as they rise up, as they become immersed with themselves, that their energy rises, so their frequency rises, and it becomes that harmonious ripple effect that goes out that inspires others and invites them to want to rise up too. Those that are ready to see, to hear, to listen, to apply. Again, inspiration begets invitation, but the invitation is only to those that are wanting to make their own self-discovery.
and that's where healing comes in.
Yeah.
I've been doing healing work for over 20 years. When someone receives a healing, it's like you're just lifting the veil and they're reconnecting back home to
Yeah.
who they truly are. And that's the feeling that they receive and feel in that moment. And they go, wow,
Yeah.
amazing, because they're home.
Right.
They're home. And
Yes.
so,
And
and
that's where home is. That's where the universe is. That's where your wisdom, your divinity, your love, your heart, your presence, everything is inside of you, waiting to come out and share. But it's not on the outside waiting for you. The outside living will always disappoint you. It doesn't matter how rich you are, how popular you are, you will always feel empty. The abundance, the fulfillment, the enrichment is on the inside. And when it is on that inside, it can't help but exude out.
And Sarah, you just hit the nail on the head. For many decades, I was searching, when
Mm,
I traveled all around the world.
right.
It was like, where do I belong? Where's
Yes,
home?
yes.
And I, in that walkabout, I covered about 35 countries in that time. And it's
Yeah.
like, where do I belong? And I'm back in Australia now, though I've lived in many different countries. And I know my life's purpose is I'm meant to be everywhere,
Hmm.
and just keep shining my light in order
Yes.
to help others to raise their energy, vibration, and frequency. And that's my life's purpose. So,
To pollinate or wasn't your journey, right?
exactly. And
Yeah.
go, spread joy. That's
Yes.
purpose.
Right.
That's, get your mojo up,
Yeah.
and that is all about connecting with your heart.
Yes, coming from your heart. People say to me, who do you interview? And I say, all of those that come from the heart. It doesn't matter what they do or what it is they're doing. It is more about, is it coming from that heart center that they want it to benefit other people, right? And when it comes from that, that's when we make the connection because the frequency, that vibration of who they are resonates out. And you may not quite comprehend what it is they're doing, but by George, you want some of that.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why I teach and travel, and I'm going to the US at the end of this year to for the first time in 4 years. I'm no
Right,
longer
yes.
so um, and this is the longest I've actually been in one place. So I know that my journey in this lifetime is meant to be traveling and teaching, and that's what I
Yeah.
choose to continue to do.
I keep longing, the human self of me, because I'm 68, the human longing of myself wants a sanctuary, wants a sanctuary to go to. But I'm a bit of a nomad. I've been where I am here for 5 years in September, and it was meant to be temporary just for a few months. But it just circumstances. I live with a lady who's about to be 90 this
Oh,
week,
wow.
and she still drives, she still cooks for herself, she has short-term memory, but everything else about her is just amazing. But she doesn't want me to leave. But my daughter has two children, two babies, and she wants me down there. And it's like, it's it's I'm on the island, Vancouver Island, and the island is right for me completely. I had to move to a soil that spoke to me. But I'm at this stage in my life, I'm a bit tired of being a nomad, but even if I have a sanctuary, I'm still going to be out there going around. And of course, what I'm doing here, I'm reaching people from all over the world, so it doesn't matter. But I understand that feeling. It's sometimes it could be a little lonely because you're not rooting, you're not grounding anywhere. But the whole point of it is I'm wind. I'm meant to go where I'm meant to be to lift people up. And when you accept that, where some people are meant to be stationary and everybody comes to them, other people like us, our spirits are meant to go out there and drop a little joy, drop a little wisdom, drop a
Yeah.
little love, and just watch it. And sometimes we don't stay around long enough to see it take, or
No,
ignite, but
but we're
that's
just
okay.
planting those
Yeah,
seeds, and then the messages we leave and the
yeah,
energy we've left with those people, it's up to them to keep watering those seeds
yes.
to choose. When I was living in California, I lived there for 7 years, and I moved 15 times.
I can relate.
In fact, it wasn't planned that way, but it was like spirit was
Yeah.
uh, moving me for the purpose of everyone that I shared with. I was there to plant those seeds. If
Mm.
they didn't get it or if they weren't ready, it's like, right, time's up, now move. And
But the
so it's
seeds are in the ground, right? And you don't know if they're going to water them or not, but if they do somehow, suddenly they're going to sprout, right?
and so yes, I seem to be
Yeah.
hopping around, every 4 months or something to a different location. And it was all in the San Francisco Bay Area, so north and south, and yeah, the coast. And
Yeah,
so,
somebody asked me the other day how many places I've lived in, and I said actually resident house or kind of all the other places I've lived in because I've probably moved at least 100 times in my life. And I've lived in 4 countries. I've born in England, lived in South Africa, lived in the States, now live in Canada. All right. And
oh,
it's I am the air sign, the element air sign. And it's like the wind would just pick me up and take me somewhere. And sometimes it would just take my soul and my spirit off for a journey. And other
yes,
times it's no, you've got to pick your feet up and go too.
yes.
But I mean, please, can you just give me a nice sanctuary? I'll go with the spirit, but can I have a root base now? Because I've got to that stage in life. But
Yeah.
I think you must be an air sign as well because you are
No,
most,
I'm an earth sign.
are you? Are
Yeah,
you? But there has to
Taurus.
be some, there had no, that's maybe your Taurus, but like you look at your Chinese sign, you look at your element sign and all of that as well. I'm a true colors coach, so it's I look at your personality trait and then I match it with your view of life, where you are now. But I also look at all your cosmic signs and then amalgamate them together, which makes who you are. So you're not just any one sign.
No,
But
I,
being the earth sign means that you know the fertility of the earth in order to seed, right? But I bet you've got a great deal of air sign in there that is like up, you've planted your seeds now, up you go. Or you could be water too, where you're just, running off into another field somewhere. So, but most certainly, you're a
so the
movement sign,
Gemini rising and Sun and Mercury in my 12th house in
Mhm.
Taurus. So
Right?
this is where my whole purpose is all about communication and
Mm.
teaching, speaking, coaching, and helping others, and that's my purpose.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you discover what your purpose is, you can't fight against it. Resistance is futile. You are it. And this is, where we're looking at people in business or looking at people to collaborate with or a community to go to. We want to find those people where we can feel the essence of who they are. It is not so much of what they are doing, it's the essence of who they are. We feel the people. And this is what I say to people, don't think your knowledge, feel your knowledge. When the soul has spoken, the heart agrees, the spirit knows, the mind gives you the information you need in that moment. If you're just caught up in the head thinking, going back to your, you know,
Three brains.
no, the Silicon Silicon Valley, where
Yes.
everything is brain orientated and
Mhm.
they don't take in all the other. Right? Fine, analytical, technical, yes. But then that's the reason why some technology is so goddamn hard to use because they're not addressing all the other aspects of us. And I think that if people stopped to feel their knowledge, they would have a great deal more clarity on why, what, and when, as it would be just thinking, which then comes up, but yes, but what if? Yes, but what if? Right? And we want the what if, not the what if.
Yeah. Well, and that's where, connecting the left and the
Yeah,
right brains together and making it user friendly
yeah,
for everyone when they bring out these new software.
yeah. Well,
And
I mean, this is a computer, isn't it? The head.
that's right. And that's
It's a
why I
database. So
say,
yeah.
what the work we're doing is upgrading our conscious
Yes,
and operating
yes,
system and upgrading our hardware, well, hardware
yes,
with
yes.
a new software program and
Mm,
removing those viruses. And
mm,
that's what my program that my 5R renewal
mm.
program is all about, is we're upgrading and removing the viruses, which is the old programs and patterns and behaviors and habits, and upgrading to a new being, a
Yes.
new version. And that's where the renewal, it's you're renewing yourself.
When you do
And
it to a computer, suddenly everything downloads a lot faster. And that's the
right,
point, isn't it? It's like empty out anything that is not serving you, right? So that you can open and ready to receive that clarity so much faster. We will do it and invest in our computer. We will do it to upgrade our car. We will do it to upgrade everything else. But when it comes to us, it's suddenly like, nah, don't need to. Yes, you do. You
that's
are
right.
your biggest vehicle that you'll ever have in your life. And if it's not optimized and
Mm.
you're still dragging it along with, um, old
Rust,
old
rust,
oil and
corrosion,
yeah,
and
yeah, exactly. It's like, where do you expect to go? Boom, 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 breakdown. Right?
flat tire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So if we have to look at common sense of I'm feeling dragged down. I'm feeling that every time I move forward, there's a wind against me, or I'm feeling that why am I feeling like this? And the thing is, don't get stuck in the why. Start investigating, and that's where someone like you comes along, who gives them a system, the A, B, C's, and D's of this step, this step, this step, because we people are going to detox, so to speak, at their own level.
mm-hmm.
Some people can go through it fast, some people can't, and it may be just one section at a time. Then they're ready for the next and the next. But having that guidance system, like you, there to guide them through the process, helps them to get through it without panicking, without going off the rails. I'm staying with it. And as with each level, they feel better and feel better and feel better. And then it's like, who the hell am I? I feel so light. I feel so attached. I feel so free. And so many people have never, ever felt that in their lives.
Well, that's why I make it simple to help people, and I provide that bridge.
Yeah.
Really, it is a simple process where, but people think that it's big and scary and,
Yeah.
overwhelming.
It can
Where
be if you look at it as a whole, but break it
so
down, right?
that's right. And you just peel off one
Yeah.
layer at a
At a
time,
time.
and
Exactly.
then next one comes up, and the clarity.
Yeah.
And that was the silver lining of the lockdown. So many
Mm.
people had the opportunity to
Yes.
meditate, go within, slow down,
Yes.
and stop and just go within and reflect.
Yeah.
And in that process, so many people woke up
Yeah.
and
That was the purpose of COVID.
More conscious and aware and awake,
Mhm.
and now and even changing careers, changing relationships,
Yes.
looking at their life and going, well, that's not working for me.
Mhm.
And and a lot of relationships broke down during that time because all of a sudden they had to communicate with each other, not just be ships in the night.
What do you mean I've got to talk to you?
And that's right. We're now living under the same roof, you know. But it was that was the blessing.
Yes.
That was the
And then the
blessing.
thing is, in any disaster, we look at it and the situation is really negative, at the time with what's happening. But at the same time, there's always a lesson in there that can be so illuminating and so inspiring. It's a question of our attitude and how we look at it.
That's right.
You want to choose to get mad or get angry. And I call many of those people that are in the hate rhetoric, in the denial rhetoric, in the blame rhetoric, third dimensional people that are very, very earthbound, that aren't opening up their heart or their spirit to anything. And then, as I said, from 2012, you would have the third dimension as stepping on the bridge of the fourth dimension, knowing there's something more, there's an awakening, what's happening. It's taking me over. I've got to follow this path, and then stepping into that fifth dimension of actualizing what they have learned and going higher. But then I've said all along the line that bridge is going to break away from the third dimensionless. And if you're not on it, you'll be left behind. And I firmly believe we're there right now. And this is why we're seeing so much protest from people, the loud voices of them trying to hang on to something that's not there anymore, where it's already in a lot of ways too late because we've already ascended, we're already growing. It doesn't make CNN news, right? But we can feel it vibrationally in the world of how much it is beautifully growing.
The veil has been lifted. As I
Yes.
explained to people, for years we've been living under this wet blanket,
Uh,
and it's been heavy and dense, and it's we haven't been able to see clearly and have clarity.
yeah.
But now that veil has lifted, and that's where consciousness has shifted on the planet
Yeah.
for everyone. Doesn't matter what path they're on, it has shifted for everybody. And people are now seeing things from a different perspective and outlook. One of the workshops that I teach from 19 years ago is a workshop called Palawa Healing. And what it does is shifts consciousness, expands awareness, and connects all 12 strands of DNA. But talking about that 19 years ago, people
Yes.
were,
Oh, I
whoa.
know. Oh, I know, honey. I know. I've been talking about this all my life, and it's like waiting for the white coats to come, you know? Yeah.
And I, because I worked individually in the beginning, on people's body, and they'd keep saying, I've got pain here, pain, da 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 da. And I saw a pattern, and I thought, oh wow, here's a modality that shifts
Yeah.
consciousness, because you can't fix a physical body with the mind that created it.
No, you can't.
Like Einstein said that.
Yeah.
So now the veil has lifted for everyone. It's a really exciting time. So
Yes.
now it's about helping. Well, it's only for those who are ready and willing
Yes. Yes.
to assist and provide those steps, provide the bridge to really reconnect to who they truly are as a soul. And really it is so simple,
Yeah.
because we are all one, and
Mm-hmm.
there is no separation. And when people can truly understand that there is this oneness, and and we are all in this together,
Yeah.
and stop resisting,
Yeah,
stop the
exactly.
suffering and
Yeah.
struggle and denying and the blaming,
Yeah.
and all of that is really low vibration
Mm-hmm.
three mentality. And so it's a choice
Yeah.
that humans have free will, and they can make the choice to cross the bridge
Mm-hmm.
or not.
Right. And
So
the thing is that's the self responsibilities in your choice. You can't blame you. Look, stuff is going to happen to you, and it may cause some suffering. But when you change that suffering into struggle for it happening for you, of what does it
it,
mean?
there's
What has it
always
done to waken you up? That there's always a reason for it. And that choice is I can stay in suffering or I can struggle to get out of this. And the more that I'm willing to get out of this and see what I'm meant to learn from it, the easier the struggle. But some people choose to stay in that suffering because they just don't know how, or can't see the light, or they're just too angry at somebody else for it. But then again, is our choice in life. We don't always choose what happens to us, but what we become of it. I think it was Trevor Noah with Jay Shetty saying that some experiences of life are not pleasant, and nobody
Mhm.
really wants to go through them. But who we become because of them is
That's
where the
right.
gift is, right?
Exactly. And that's where it's important. Find someone who can help you
Yeah,
during the process to find the light, and there's a zillion life coaches and
yeah,
healers and transformation people out there. So find someone who resonates with you,
your
and
frequency. Hmm.
that's right. And then they can help you to see the light.
Yeah,
And
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 become
like,
the light.
well, yeah, that's right. And like it's just sometimes the light's being dimmed, but it's
Hmm.
just reconnecting,
Yeah,
come back into alignment with you. And because sometimes, there's splits of
yeah.
energy. So that's where it's like coming back to your true authentic self, reconnecting with your heart and your soul and your higher self, and just know and trust and believe in yourself,
Mm,
and know that nothing can hurt you, harm you, or destroy you,
right.
and really step into your power, and you're in control, and take charge of your life, because that's what really it is. It's that simple. It's
Yes,
like no one's doing anything to you unless you give them permission to.
right. Exactly. It's where is your frequency that of invitation? I look at it as like, the soul is that compass of where to go. The heart is that generator of love and passion, and that spirit is the vehicle in which we travel in. And if we just are willing just to take it and, they say jump out into the abyss, blind, deaf, and dumb in order to see, hear, and feel. The thing is, don't dictate how it should go. Listen, learn, apply, and feel it. Allow it to be revealed of what it is you need to know when you need to know it. And if we surrender to that, instead of holding on so much to the control, it's got to be this way, it's got to be that way, it's got to do this, get rid of the got tos, right? And just take that
And
deep breath. Yeah,
surrender and let go. I
yeah.
created a little mantra many years ago. It's like I release, I surrender, I let go.
Mhm.
And this is what one of the little simple tools I taught the people in corporate in Silicon
Yeah.
Valley, because I could see they were just running from one meeting to the next that was back to back. And I'd say, just go to the bathroom,
Hmm.
you know, sitting in that little cubicle, and just close your eyes and breathe, and just say this little mantra: I release, I surrender, I let go, and just take a few deep breaths, and then go to the next meeting.
Yes.
And then, and continue on for your own sanity and mental
Right.
health.
Well, where is the clarity if the data is blending from one to the next? It becomes confusing. Does that data belong to this? Does that data belong to that? You need to have kind of the full stop, new page, to actually understand what the information is all about, right? So there, and also, I've learned through life that there used to be the hare, rushing to the end because I saw the end vision. Um, you're building a hotel. I can tell you who's going to come, what the colors are going to be like, what they're going to do there. I was an envisioner. But now I love being the tortoise because along the way, I'm absorbing what's around me. I'm meeting wonderful people. I'm sharing wonderful experiences, and I can go at my own pace. There's no rush. Who said
Yeah,
we had to rush through life,
that's right.
right?
Yeah. It's all about the journey
Yeah,
and
yeah,
really taking a step back. I know that I used to, go, 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 go. And now it's like I've slowed down so much. But I noticed that when I was living in America and living in Silicon Valley, it is a fast pace.
yes,
And it's like, oh, and you're trying to keep up. That's where it's like, whoa, I need to retreat in order to
yes,
recharge to fill my cup up again. And because I give out a lot of energy,
uh-huh.
so that's why it's being aware to nurture yourself. Self-care, it's not selfish, it's
No, it
self,
isn't.
and,
No.
and just retreat and rest and recharge your batteries, and then you can come back out into the world to be of service to others and give to others and do all
What
those
it is
amazing
you're meant to do. Yeah. I mean, like,
things.
last week was a tap on the shoulder for me because due to circumstances of a couple of people changed the shows, I ended up in 3 days doing 8 shows. That's too much. I can do 4 to 8 shows a week, but I normally only do 2 a day. But I ended up with doing three, along the way. And it is, as much as I love them and gave them my all, what it did is it left me for 2 days after that literally feeling heavy like lead because I'd given out so much and I didn't have any time to rejuvenate. And I think that's what we need to pay attention to. No, it doesn't mean you're weak. Doesn't mean you're this, that. It just means that you are spending too much energy without the replenishment in between. So you become more conscious of how you're doing, conducting your business or conducting your life and knowing, I can put out this amount of energy, but then I've got to take this amount in order to put it back in on me. And, last week was one of those circumstances. I don't do it all the time because I do know better, but know your own energy signature and when it needs rejuvenation and when it really can give its full, because when it's on, right?
Exactly. And it's about really tuning in to what is my body telling me and
Yeah.
listening to those signs. So if you're feeling depleted and feeling exhausted, have a self-care day. And
Yes.
and I did this on Sunday, and it's like Sunday afternoon, I watched a movie and I went to bed very early that
Mm.
night because I knew that it had been a big week and I needed sleep.
Yep.
So it's like, right, just switch off from everything, especially computers, devices,
Yes.
that, and just take that time out for yourself. That's so important. And this is something I'm really passionate about, self-care for the soul. That's basically why I created the Benn method, because
Right.
even when I was sick, I was still going to the gym,
Mhm.
doing double classes, burning myself out even more when I was already depleted.
Yeah.
That was all the mind stuff,
Right.
go, go, go. You got to exercise, you got to do this, da, 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 da. And whereas I had slowed down so much,
And more
and
present. You're present with yourself.
my body's so thankful.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Because
as we say when you get up in the morning, thank you for the day that is before me. It's the same when you go to bed at night. You can go to bed, drop into it exhausted, but thank you for being with me today.
that's
Thank you for
right.
being with me, and being my source of energy. And I think that gratitude is to the universe, but it's also to your own soul. It's your own presence.
And be really aware or conscious and intentional about when you're at in bed and
Mm.
say 3 things that you're grateful for,
Yeah.
and thank you for this day, thank you for, this meeting, or
Mm.
whatever amazing things happen throughout your day. It's all a blessing, and thank you for bringing these people into my life,
Hmm.
and thank you for the outcome of this, and set the intention. I choose to sleep soundly and wake up at X amount of time, and automatically, I know for myself this morning, is I set the alarm, but 1 minute before
Hmm.
I was awake.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's like you can regulate your sleep and your body all by intention, and going, I choose to get up and wake up at this time.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's just, the gift of your own presence is, is what's going to serve you, but knowing, what you can and cannot do. It's okay to say no. It's okay to have your boundaries. They're not borders. You don't need a passport. It's just a boundary of I can or I cannot, or I choose not to. Um, you're not, if there people feel offended by it, that's their offense. It's not yours. This is just your boundary. But the other thing, I think if you go through the day and you simply share a smile or an observation, I like your shoes, I like your hair, or, cute dog, or whatever the case is. You don't know how much it can lift somebody's day. And just acknowledging someone as you go down the street and smiling, and how much that can do. We've got to realize if it lifts someone, it gets passed on.
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, this morning I just got a text message from one of my clients who I called yesterday. I haven't spoken to her for a month or two, and I just checked in. And she thanked me because she was feeling really low yesterday, and I just gave her a couple of tips, and then yeah, got a text this morning. So sometimes it's just a phone call that
Yes. Yeah.
will help to lift people up, and
Yeah.
just knowing that you care,
Hmm.
and that someone's thinking about you, and it's that connection. We all want that community
Yeah.
connection of, um, we're all in this together. So
Yeah. And it's not the misconstrued of everybody, like you see on TV where they're always trying to diminish this, any form of spirituality or any form of connection, and they're always trying to cultify it. Or everybody's in slow motion and kumbaya wearing white gowns, and it's like, get real. Get real. I've had the honor of interviewing some incredible people, ambassadors, world leaders, etc., that are already stepped into consciousness, and their mission is to bring that consciousness into government, into corporate, into organizations. And it's that we can still be very present in our wonderful eccentricities of who we are, but it's that consciousness of our essence and what we're bringing to the table. And no, it isn't any woo-woo or anything like that. That's, hey, folks, let's get over that. That was the thought of yesterday. Why was it? Why were they, making this look so villainous? Because the powers that are in control keep you in control by keeping you in fear. And when you relinquish that fear and you say, I am my own essence and I trust my divine soul to guide me in my compass and my conscience, you have no control over me. And that's the last thing the particular organizations want. But in order for us to evolve, we've got to realize each and every one of us as an individual is the contribution to the survival of the species and of the planet.
and that's what we're moving more
Mm.
into. Yes, during COVID, there was a lot of fear mongering,
Oh, yeah.
all the agenda, and I don't want to go too much into it, but it's really come back to your
Yeah.
sovereign self, believe in yourself, and if something doesn't feel right, you don't participate.
Right.
Don't buy
Exactly.
into it or give your power to it, because the more that you worry about something
Yes.
you don't want, you're giving energy and power to it by even thinking about it, talking about what you don't want. And just know that we are protected
Mm-hmm.
by the universe, spirit, gods, goddesses,
Gus,
ascended
God, universe, spirit, yes, energy, yeah.
whatever word resonates
Yes,
with you. And sometimes, yes, there is a lot of evil things going on the planet, which is out of our control, but don't give your energy and power to it.
right.
Just and always trust that divine intervention
Yes.
will occur. And that's what happened during the lockdown when they were trying to mandate, everyone be vaccinated. And then it was like divine intervention came in, stopped, and otherwise, yeah, it would have been mandated, but no, it got interfered.
Mm-hmm.
So just trust that there's there's good beings, that are
Yeah.
protecting us.
And
And
we, whether you believed in the vax or no vax, it is not the issue, so to speak, as more of the force that was imposed, right? So people can have free will. And, through that, I would just speak constantly to common sense, right? And one of the things that we don't seem to have a lot of, because we again choose to, to go into the fear and the mongering. And we've got to remember that just all social media is an algorithm. So what you respond to, what you feed, and what you put out is the algorithm that they're going to do that. So if you don't want the angst and you don't want the bitterness, you don't want the tirades, then don't respond, don't feed them. And we've also got to remember our energy is an algorithm. And our energy will beget other energies and be drawn to it. And so if we want to be around people like tribe that are about lifting up each other's spirit, about being creative, about finding solutions, looking at the possibilities of what can be, then project that algorithm of your energy out there and you will see that community come together.
and that's what the whole energy, vibration, and frequency is, what we're doing to uplift that on.
Yes.
So the more people who are in alignment with their true self, then they can actually lift up the energy, and it's a dominoes effect.
Yes.
Go and show love and kindness. Keep, working on yourself, your core
Yep.
essence of who you are, and then go and share your love and light with all your brothers and sisters on the
Mm,
planet, and keep sprinkling those seeds, and just trust that the ones that are meant to be watered will be watered.
exactly. Exactly. Kind of very often it's just get out of our own way.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if somebody's coming to you and going, okay, I hear you, but I don't know what to do, I don't know the first step, what is your process and how do you take people through it?
Well, first, if what I suggest to people is just go to my website, lindabenn.com,
And the
and
Ben is Benn, folks.
yes. And there's a button there for a clarity call. So book a clarity call. Let's have a chat. Let's see if we're a good fit. And I will talk to each individual about where they're at, where they want to go, and then work out a strategy, for the bridge and the steps. But there's a lot of information on my website, and I will be culling it. I'm going to be removing a lot of the services, and just making it very clear about the 5R renewal program, my Benn method. There's the burnout to balance program for corporate, and then individual coaching as well as group coaching. And I can work in person or on Zoom. And there's also a special package there for an individual session, and then you receive ongoing guidance with the training videos of the Benn method training, and you receive the videos on balance, energy, nurture, and nourish each week. So
Well,
that's
that's the
it.
thing, I mean, it's, the 5 hours: release, realign, restore, rebalance, re-energize. It's really quite simple. And it's something that we just, well, aren't I doing that automatically? No, because you're living by the world's demands, society's demands that you've got to be this, you've got to be that, you've got to be this, you've got to be there, then you've got to blah, blah, blah. It's all too exhausting. And then when you do rebalance everything, can you restore your core being, your core essence, and you live in that frequency? Yes, you do slow down. No, you don't have to become the snail or the tortoise. That's just my preference now. But you can be so much more productive in anything that you're doing because you're coming from a place of positive energy, clarity, and you know how to rejuvenate yourself when you need to do so instead of chasing your tail the whole time, which so many people are doing.
Exactly. Exactly. It's really about be aware,
Yeah.
be aware and conscious about your thoughts, your actions, your behavior, and what you're doing on a daily basis. And are you getting the results that you want, or how does it feel? When you start noticing more on how are you feeling than the doing,
Yes.
you're getting somewhere. It's like keep checking in. How does that feel? And make your choices and decisions based on how it feels, and and make it on, does it feel good?
Mm.
Great. Well, then do it. Does it make you feel strong? Great. Do that. If it doesn't, well, don't make that choice.
Right. And anything in life, there's some stuff that we don't like. We don't like housekeeping or taking out the garbage, or there's certain aspects of your business that you don't really enjoy. But and you just do those because they've got to be done. But it's the overall satisfaction of the clean house, all that you did trudgery of the business, but this happened because of it. It's always looking at the bigger part of it, and putting your time and effort into that, right? It's like it isn't abstaining from things you don't like. It's just incorporating them for the greater things that benefit you.
Well, and you can make it fun and easy
Yeah.
while you're doing those chores.
Yes.
You're doing housework, well, then put some music on, make
Yes.
it fun, listen to a podcast,
Mhm.
do incorporate it with something you enjoy doing, and then make it fun and easy.
Yes.
And then it's not a drudgery, or
Right.
it's like, ugh, I have to do this. It's like, okay, I choose to make it fun and
Right.
easy. I'm going to put some music on or do this while I'm doing this, this, and this.
And you know that Linda Joy, find the joy in life. And I know for a lot of people that's difficult. I have a friend whose anxiety is so high that, the joy only comes out now and again for a short period before the anxiety takes over. And, it's finding that joy that isn't something that is only going to come out like the sun now and again. It's something that it's the joy is within you and you see it in everything around you.
Exactly. And anxiety is really just creating those stories in your
Yes.
head and believing in that story and the end result of that story, which is not true.
Yeah.
Because you're the creator of your experience, you're the creator of your reality. You get to choose every single day what you're creating.
Mm.
And why would you just stay in your head and create that anxiety of the story that's creating the
Yeah.
anxiety? Because you can choose another new story.
Yes. And that's not diminishing what you've gone through, the pain of what you've gone through, anything what you've gone through, that's real. Nobody's taking that the effect it had on you, or maybe even the scars that are left behind. But what it's saying to you is don't stay there. Right? You can look back, you can talk about it, and you go, "Oh gosh, thank God I'm not there anymore because I was willing to do the work to move forward. I can now look at that story as a part of my building blocks of life, but I'm no longer stuck in that story."
Exactly. Yeah. It really, that's humans overcomplicate.
We do. So then we get in our heads and we just create a story about the story. It's just like it is what it is. And what are you going to do about it? That's the thing. Empower yourself to do something about it. That's really where we're at. We're so much more empowering and powerful than we think power is all about money and ego and somebody at the top. No, the power is within you, in the generator of you, of your love, of your heart, of your spirit, of your purpose. That's where the power is. And in your power, you empower others around you. So don't diminish your power. Don't just give it away willy-nilly. Make sure it's always been rejuvenated for you, because that's when it can come from you.
And also, you are a free spirit.
You are. Mhm.
No one's tied you up to,
Right.
you willingly came for this experience, to have this human experience, and you are free to do anything that you choose.
Mhm.
And in those choices and decisions that you make every single day, it's like, just focus on the ones that make you feel good and make this journey fun and joyful and exciting and adventurous. And as I say to my clients, stay up on your surfboard and just ride that wave.
Yeah. Yes.
And if you fall off, yes, it may hurt being tumbled in the surf, but then get up on your surfboard and then you'll have amazing adventures.
Yes, exactly. When you're willing to explore and
Yeah.
really try. Everything I've ever done in life, I didn't know whether I could do or not do. And it's only when I tried, okay, yeah, no, this isn't for me. Oh, this was a great experience, but I don't need to stay here. And it's always that willing, to keep wondrous, keep the adventure alive, to keep exploring, because life isn't about stagnancy or complacency or accepting the status quo. It is constantly about movement and being willing to go with the flow of life.
And that's why your soul chose to come here for this lifetime,
Yeah,
for the journey.
yeah.
So,
Give it an
and
experience.
and create memories
Yeah.
that you are proud of. Create those magical moments and the memories, so that by the time you leave this experience, you can go, you know what, I did good.
Yes.
I had so much fun and it was amazing. Okay, there's some ups and downs, but leave with peace in your heart, love
Yeah.
in your heart, and go, I had an amazing life. Thank you, thank you,
And
thank
if
you.
you're going to come back, you're going to come back with that energy to have another experience, maybe to this time to be the teacher and not the student, right? And so you don't want to have to come back and relive the lesson all over again. You want to rise up to a higher level, that if you are coming back, you are coming back to help others rise up. So
So,
yeah. So it's all up to you. It's all your choice, folks. So it is Linda Benn, BENN.com. Everything is on there. You can reach out. And of course, she's also on the social medias. You're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Facebook group, Instagram, and
TikTok, interest.
right. I don't have the TikTok one up here, but or the Pinterest one. You and people can reach out to you. It doesn't matter where they are in the world, but they can reach out to you and just see if there's a synergy between the two of you. But folks, these shows are about listening, learning, and then applying. Right? You've been inspired. You feel, I would like to feel like that. Okay, what do you need to do? You need to take action, right? Take action, because this is what we're here for, is to help you on your journey of life, your self-discovery. And Linda is here to receive you, help you face those 5 R's and step into your own beautiful presence and essence, because we need you at that higher elevation in life.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank
Thank you.
you
Thank you
for
very much. Thank you for the journey that you've taken and that you're taking, and being an awakener, because we need that desperately in this world. And I think when people do finally awaken and they step into that, they go, it all makes sense now.
right. And they're home. They're home.
Yes.
It's just a right feel.
Yeah.
Right feel.
Yeah.
So,
You're always, instead of running from yourself all the time, you're always with yourself and you're quite happy to be there, because you know who you are, why you are, and what you're here to do, right?
yeah.
It's a good feeling. Come on in, folks. The waters are great. Thanks, Linda, for sharing with us today. And please, folks, please just reach out to her. Don't forget, I'm a big pro of podcast parties. Listen to a podcast together, come together afterwards, and each share your own perspective because it just broadens everything, right? And so until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tab at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.